to the computer. Awesome. So welcome everybody to week 3. I hope you've had a nice little integration week last week. For those of you that needed maybe some catch-up time or just to be able to just practice. And if you had no time to do anything, that is fine too, because we're not trying to do this perfectly. You have the rest of your lives to understand tarot. And like I always say, just look at this. I'm giving you a lot of information because that's the whole point. We're a beginner's course, so we need to map out all the things at the basic level. And so that means it's a lot of information. So you're not here to try and remember everything perfectly. Whatever you remember is what you're meant to remember. And as we've spoken about before, this is just another reminder that you have total permission. It is the point of tarot, that you create your own unique practice that is personal to you, which means you can do away with all of the meanings if you want to and create your own meanings that derive from your own life experience or from just simply what you feel when, if you pick up a card, I've got like the Two of Wands here. You can look up in your handouts, which I brought in. So for anybody who hasn't watched either of the last 2 replays, you'll have handouts with all of the meanings that I use. That's a mix of ones that I was taught when I learned tarot with Angie Benaki. Also just ones from my own life experience that have just become, oh, okay, this card always means this because I pulled it in this really significant time of my life and that's what it meant then. And then it's kind of like your own personal experience superimposes onto certain cards. So there's a bit of that in there. And then there's also just some generic meanings where you just Google it or from books that I've read that I felt like, I think I need that as well. I need that on top of my stuff and what I was taught. So, what you'll end up with eventually is, not through this course, but just as you continue with your tarot development, is that you'll end up with your own kind of sheet like this. You might handwrite it out. I will take you through my magic book at another time, but I'll give you a little preview. I wasn't going to do this tonight, but I have this sketchbook. And thank you, Sylvia. It's always fun to see people's secret things. So this is, you'll recognize this from the handout that you have. That's the notes I made in the course when I was learning. And then very similarly, I've basically kind of copied the structure. I have this whole book and I've got little stickers. I'll be giving you the links to the stickers. That's all the Rider-Waite imagery. So I can kind of like just go, oh yeah, it's that card in Rider-Waite. And anyway, we've got all our tabs for major arcana, minor arcana and suits. And so I will encourage you at some point in this course, a bit later on, to perhaps think about creating your own book, which is full of, again, like my amalgamation, your own meanings I've passed on to you in this course that you're like, that feels alive for me, that feels good. And then anything else that as you go through your life, and like I just said, you will just find that you will have big experiences and you will remember the card you pulled on the day of a big experience. Or when you've had a big experience and you do some card pulls afterwards. Suddenly, experiences in your life will lock in with cards that you've pulled and they will become a meaning for you. So then you will want to be recording those in your own personal magic book. But don't worry about that yet. Let's get through some more of the information that you need to know. So we're going to start tonight with a very, very small recap, just literally an overview of what we did last week. But let's start out by telling you what we're going to do today. And actually, before we start, let's just take a couple of deep breaths and land, because some of you guys might have just rushed to get here on time, and it's always good just to feel present. So if you're comfortable closing your eyes, just close your eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths in. And exhaling when you're ready. You may need to just do a little neck roll, shoulder roll, a little stretch. As you're just taking a couple more deep breaths, just notice what you notice in your body. Do you need to just get yourself a bit more comfortable? I'm getting an intuitive sense that somebody's already thinking, I wish I'd got a more comfortable place to sit. I wanted to do this from bed. If that's you, turn off your video and go make yourself comfortable. You don't have to sort of be good on this call and listen and look like you're listening. make this your own practice, your own time, and make sure that you're feeling really comfortable and relaxed because, yeah, this is your time and all you need to do is listen to some beautiful information and maybe make some notes. So I've actually stopped us doing our breathing. We didn't do many breaths. Let's just do a couple more. So maybe just visualizing some lovely golden light. I did a visualization yesterday and the encouragement was to imagine some golden smoke, and that felt really beautiful. Whatever feels good for you, maybe some golden light just trickling in through your crown, the top of your head. And as you breathe in, you're just letting your breath sort of last a bit longer. And your exhales just again last that little bit longer than the last exhale. And you're just envisaging your body just slowly filling up with a beautiful golden light. And just setting the intention to be present, ask your intuition to let you know when there's something that's really alive for you that you need to maybe make a note of. And just honoring yourself for setting the intention to learn tarot. You got the call, you heard it, you felt the pull. And just maybe a little bit of thanks to yourself for showing up for yourself, showing up for that little thread that's pulled you toward tarot. And just one last lovely grounding deep breath in and exhaling. And again, just as you're gently opening your eyes, just tending to yourself, anything you need right now. We're just going over a quick recap, so if you need to just go and get a drink, a cup of tea or a water or anything, now's a good time. All right, let's have a look at what we're doing tonight and what we did last week. So to start with tonight, we are going to be revisiting the little exercise, not kind of exercise, but the teach that we did at the end of our last class. So that was looking at the major arcana and how to use the handout. Somebody had a great question, which is, could we do a few more examples of how we're using the different columns on the handout and how we use them when we're giving a reading to ourselves or somebody else? So I've gone ahead and created a few more examples for you. So we're going to start with that. And now tonight is spread night, looking at the different spreads. We've got our Celtic Cross, our annual spread, monthly spread, 3-card spread, and Meet Your Spirit Guide spread. So we're not going to be doing those or anything tonight. This is simply information so that when you do them in your own time, you know what you're doing. I will be giving you some examples of the main one that I suggest that you do a lot going forward, which is stepping from the 1-card reading to doing a 3-card reading. So I'll be giving you some examples of that. And also about how to record the wisdom that you get through your readings. So it's really clear and you don't have to kind of go over a lot of meanings and things to try to remember what your readings were telling you. You kind of just end up with a 2-sentence takeaway. So I'll walk you through that. So that's what we're going to do tonight. This is just a very, very quick recap to remind you that we were looking at this diagram, which tells us what is going on in the minor arcana. So the minor arcana is the bigger part of the deck, which has 4 different suits in it. We've got our wands, our cups, our swords, and our pentacles. And the minor arcana deck is within these 4 different suits, has cards from ace to number 10, and then our court cards, our people cards. So our page, our knight, our queen, and our king. Now, we're just looking at, in this handout, the ace through to number 10 of each of the 4 minor arcana suits. And I will keep repeating these basic facts to you, so by the end of it, you're not trying to track it so much. You'll be like, yep, got it here. So don't worry if at the moment you're just tracking. That's all part of just the process of learning. You're not trying to do it perfectly. Just absorb what you hear. And I will keep the repetition process through the 6 weeks together. And by the end of it, I am confident that you'll be like, got it. Or you're like, you just need to maybe just quickly look at your notes to go like, yep, I'm there. So don't worry if you're not feeling that yet. That will be taken care of. So this is what we looked at last time, how the ace to number 10 in each of the 4 suits of the minor arcana is actually what we call the hero's journey. And so every 1 card or ace card, I should say, is generally around the same theme. So we're not going to go through them all again, but for example, as you can see, the one says it's usually about starting a new journey, or it's a new option. And it's really about this hero's journey. Like, I've got this idea. Do I want to actually climb this mountain to see it all the way through? And so this is just telling us that when you're pulling any of the number cards in the minor arcana, they're all going through the same thing. And what is the hero's journey? A little reminder on that. It's generally what we see any lead character in a movie go through. Most movies are based on the hero's journey. You've got the protagonist, the main character, and they are going to go through this journey that they start, and they're going to go through pretty much all of these things. It's going to peak at the top around number 5 and 6 in the tarot with a challenge, and it's going to be this, as we know in a movie, it's going to get to this peak in the middle, and it's like, what's going to happen? And then we're going to resolve it and finally come to an ending. And so why do we need to know this? How does this help you? Well, it means that when you're reading your tarot cards and you pick a minor arcana card, which is either an ace or all the way through the numbers up to a 10, all of the number cards, then you'll be like, oh, so we're talking about the minor intricacies with this life challenge that myself or the person I'm reading for is going through. This is the minor stuff. Whereas if you were pulling a major arcana card, you're like, oh, this is a soul lesson. And that will just make more sense as we go on. But for now, just absorb what you absorb and don't worry about it. Okay. We also talked last week about your handout, which is to assign personalities to your tarot court cards. So as we were saying in the last one, with your minor arcana, you have got ace through till 10, and then you've got what I call the people cards, your court cards. Court is the proper word. I like to call them people. So that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the queens, the kings, the pages, and the knights. And so you've got a handout. If you weren't here the last 2 weeks or last week and you haven't caught up on the replay, then when you go back to that replay, you will find that I'm directing you to a handout where you get to go through these different court cards and assign a person to them. So for example, the Queen of Wands, she represents the activist. Her traits are that she's passionate, she's confident, she's a leader, she's charismatic, independent. So when you pull that in a reading, you're like, is this talking about me, something I need to become, or maybe I'm being really good at doing this? Or is it talking about somebody in my life who really represents this? Or is it talking about an archetype where I need to become more like this? So this handout really helps you to understand these meanings very quickly by looking at those descriptions and going, who, like out of the people in my life, people in my family, best friends, whatever, children perhaps, or famous people, people on the television, who is really like that? So my example here for the activist is Jane Fonda. So I'm not going to go over it anymore because that's all in the replay from last week, but that's one thing that we did last week. Okay, this is where we're going to start though today. We were talking last week about, we were looking at the Major Arcana handout, and I was explaining how to use it. So let me see if let's just, why have I got that again? Okay, that's fine. I wanted to give you an overview, obviously. So just to remind you, this is the smaller portion of the deck. We talked quite a bit just then about the Minor Arcana, which is the big portion with the 4 suits. But the Minor Arcana is 22 cards. And they start with the Fool and it goes on and finishes with the World. And in contrast to the Minor Arcana number cards relating to the hero's journey, the Major Arcana is relating to your soul's journey. And so, you will, in your life, you will go through all of these different life lessons. You will experience the Fool, where you've got to start something new and you don't know anything, but you've kind of just got to trust and take that big step anyway. Let's pick another one, Tower. This one kind of bottom middle sort of area. We'll all experience times in our life where our foundations are completely shaken and that change has to happen. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to be for the good. We will all experience, let's choose another one, Hermit. a time where maybe we need to go inwards. We need to remove ourselves for a little while from other people, where we're just really working on ourselves, and it's kind of like too much people. I just need to reflect inward. And there's some other themes to it, but that's one for you. Oh, and one more. This one at the very bottom, but second along, which is called the Hanged Man. This is very much, it sounds quite horrible actually, the Hanged Man, but it's nothing like, it's not literal in its meaning. It's about learning to just hang there like this woman on a branch on a tree, just like letting her hair flow into the river. It's about just letting go and just allowing what is, maybe letting things leave. And it can be a really uncomfortable thing where we just want to sort things out, get things resolved, feel okay again. And sometimes a lesson for our soul is that, no, you've got to sit with this. Oh, and you've just got to allow it. And you've got to surrender to what it is. So these cards represent these big, big soul lessons. Okay, so now let's move back into the handout and how to use it. I'm just going to move some of my Zoom controls so I can see. All right. Feel free, by the way, as I've said before, to pop any questions in the chat as we go, and I'll answer them at the end. Or if I see them, if I'm not too much in flow, I'll try and answer them at the time. Okay, so this is an example of the first page of your Major Arcana handout. And these columns each are telling you something. So the very first column, this is telling you the soul lesson that you're learning. So like I just said, each of these cards have represent a soul lesson, and this is telling you about them. This is like, for example, with the Fool, this is the lesson where you're ready to start something. You're ready to take that first step into the unknown. And then if we move along, the next column is telling you a little bit more about that. It's telling you what this energy is, what this archetype is. It's telling you that what the essence is of the lesson. Because we understand that in the first column, the Fool is saying, okay, this is the subject of being ready to start. This is the soul lesson. You're ready to start something, and that's going to be very, very scary. And this is going to be a big lesson for you. So then this second column is like this little extra column. I kind of don't need to give it to you because your next two columns are just what the card means in its upright position, or if it's upside down when you pull it, in its reversed position. But I like this extra column. I like to be reminded of what it really means to be about to start something. And so it just gives you a bit more about that. It's telling you, okay, it's about being like the innocent. You don't know something, you're new. It might be, you might pull it when you're about to start a new job, or maybe you're about to do something brand new in your life, and you've got that Fool energy of like, I'm really innocent, I don't know anything. Or the Fool also is very much about the dreamer, because in the illustration, it's got the person taking a step almost off a cliff, and they're not even looking where they're going. They're dreamy. And that's a fantastic energy to be in, where you're dreaming about something and you're ready to step into it. And so with this, the little extra bit of information here is that you're learning lessons around trust, new beginnings, sacred naivety, that innocence, and taking a soul leap. So that second column is just expanding on the essence of what the soul lesson is. Because I feel like if you know that when you're reading for yourself or somebody else, and you get into what the meanings are, if you feel like, I don't know what context I'm talking about, I can't really remember what else the Fool means apart from ready to start something, then that's going to give you a whole lot more information, which is going to just help you drop into which meaning, whether it's something that you're reading from the handout, or a meaning that's coming to you because you're just looking at the card and you're seeing different symbols and you're getting a bit of an intuitive hit. Having that extra second column is just going to help you go, oh, I'm getting this intuitive idea, or perhaps I'm reading from my cheat sheet and it's saying this, and this is a bit more information about what the topic is, what we're talking about. So that's what your second column is for. And then, as we mentioned last time, your third column along, the upright expression is what the card might mean if it's in upright. And then the very last column is what the card means if it's in reverse, if it's upside down. So you guys asked for some examples, so let's do that now. Okay, so let's imagine that I pull the Tower card. So I look at the first column, and again, I'm just going over where this pink arrow is, these little lowercase, not bolded sentences, like I've underlined here in pink, that says on the subject of being. That's kind of your script that you can use to help read the cards. So I'm just going to do an example. So on the subject of being, and then you say, go into the next column, you'll say, you're learning about X, and then say it's in the reverse expression, you then give the meaning. So here is the tower. On the subject of breaking through, or breaking free through a sudden awakening. That's the soul lesson. So we've got this subject, and you might say to the person, or you might think to yourself, where am I breaking through free of something? Where am I having this sudden awakening? Where am I learning that in like that big soul lesson in my life? And then I go back up to the top, that pink line that says you're learning. I'm learning about becoming a rebel. I'm learning about becoming an awakener, perhaps. I'm learning about embracing sudden change, emotional upheaval, collapse, change again, maybe a sudden awakening. It might be I'm learning to, vibe with a loss. And then I come over to the reverse meaning, and it's like, okay, so I'm feeling shaken. Now, you could just read the answer without those first two columns. You could just go, oh, we've pulled the tower reversed. You're feeling shaken. You can definitely just get to the point. But I enjoy the full picture. And notice what you enjoy. If you sit here and go, I ain't got no time for the full picture, just give me the meaning, then just maybe abandon those two columns. Just only refer to them when you get an intuitive hit too. But so basically you've got the choice. You can go through it all, or you can just go for the meanings. Let's go for another example. This time we've pulled the devil card. So we're going to go along like that, and it's upright. So we're going to say on the subject of being, and sometimes the word being doesn't work. I said this last week. I think I should have just got rid of the word being. So on the subject of facing shadows and attachments. So again, that helps me take a little step back. I don't rush on and I go, so it's a soul lesson. And the soul lesson is about facing shadows and attachments. Got it. So, perhaps when you're reading for yourself or somebody else, and there's a question, it's like, what's going on here? Why am I struggling with this? Then it's really helpful to be like, well, your soul journey is that you've got to face your shadows and attachments. There's the big soul piece here. Okay, cool. So what am I learning again? What does that mean? Well, I'm learning about my shadow. I'm learning about liberation. I'm learning about attachments or temptations, shadow work, breaking chains. It might be about negativity. Again, just expanding the context to help with the reading. And then it's like, okay, it's an upright. So the basic meaning is you're letting your shadow hold you back. If it's upright, remember. You're buying into an illusion. You might be believing falsehoods, and that's causing you real harm. So you've got to look in my shadow. Have I got some beliefs that I've been handed, that I've been conditioned to believe, like my parents brought me up believing these things, society then conditioned me to believe these things, maybe my friends all believe these things, but it's causing you real harm because it's an illusion, because it's conditioning, because it's just what other people have perhaps projected onto you, and you've bought that belief because you were too young to go, that's not true. We get handed a whole load of beliefs in our childhood, and as we go through life, we've got to question everything, basically, bit by bit. When things come up for ourselves, we've got to look into our shadow, which is what this devil card is inviting you to do, and go, is it true for me? Or is this something that I, need to liberate myself from? And then, you would continue through the rest of the meanings here. It could be about you experiencing some manipulation, temptation. This can also be a card about addiction. Are you in your comfort zone and it's chaining you up? That's a really, really classic one. And then, like I've said before, when it says ADV : that's advice. So the advice to give yourself or the person you're reading for is you need to do some deep shadow work. You need to question what you think is true. So that's one example. I don't know if I had another one. No, that was it. Okay, so before we jump into the spreads, which is super, super fun, I'm just going to make sure I can see you all. Have we got any questions on that? No question is too silly. Just give me a wave if you do. Sylvia, was that a wave? I saw something move. No, it wasn't. I'm trying to look at you all for any waving. Okay, looks like there's no questions. Awesome. Let's jump back in and let's do spreads. One of my favorite parts. Okie dokie. So oh, hang on. My intuition is saying, Kia, you didn't look at your notes. Let me just check if there's anything I meant to tell you. Oh, hang on. Word is trying to get me to save documents. Hang on. I think I might have shut my notes. Tarot course. Here it is. Week 3. Wonderful. Okay, cool. Yeah, we've done that. Awesome. No, we're all up to date. Okay. Find you guys again. Right, let's dive into our spread. So you've obviously got your handouts with all of these illustrations. So I think we're going to start with the Celtic cross spread, actually. This one, no, actually, we're going to go back. Sorry, guys. We're going to go back to the 3-card spread if it just wants to go forward, not back. There we go. So, like I said, what we've been doing up until week 3 is just doing a 1-card reading every day. In the first week, we did a really simple 1-card reading. Last week, we expanded the reading a bit so that you had a kind of expanded set of questions and not so much questions, sorry, prompts that you would go through. So it started off with make sure that you connect with your cards. You might be rubbing your hands together like I do, placing them on your chest. Inhaling, feeling that kind of vibrations from your hands moving through the deck into your chest. That's part of mine, like I've shared. And you were given the prompts to maybe work on that, try out different things, invite in your intuition to guide you on how do I connect with my cards? That's Kia's way. Have I got a different way of doing it? And trying different things. We talked about trying different things with shuffling, etc. And that was all around pulling 1 card. So your invitation from today forward is now to pull yourself 3 cards. And really, it's called a 3-card spread, but I always put a sneaky 4th card in, which is what I call my action cards. So you'll see on this that I've got my 3 cards, and then I have this little cheeky one on the side, because quite often when I get a reading for myself, for anybody, I will find that whilst I would like the cards to tell me a bit like this says, can you see at the bottom, it says past, present, and future. I want my cards to do that, to just go, the first one is my past, the second one is my present, and this is what my future is. But quite often, I will find that it takes 3 cards for me to understand what we're talking about. Like, what is the subject? What is, and you can see on the second line after this, I've got some other examples of what the cards mean. So it could be past, present, future. The next line down, you've got, the first one is the basis for the question. The second one is where you are now. And then the third position would be where you're going. And then another example of what the 3 cards can mean is desire. The middle card is the obstacle with this desire. And the third card is the solution. So sometimes I pull my cards and I'm like, we're done in 3. Great. But quite often it takes 3 cards that are talking to each other for me to go, oh, we're talking about this. And then I need to pull some more cards. But no matter how many cards I pull, and don't worry about how many you pull, you'll just get a sense of when you're done. I always like to pull a little one at some point towards the end of the reading, which I kind of just put on an angle for some reason, which is, yeah, but what do I do? Like, thanks for showing me my past, present, and future with this situation. But what do I do? I always want to know, how can I integrate? How can I move forward? What's my action? So I call it the 3-card spread because that is a very typical spread that a lot of people use. But I don't know where I learned to put a 4th one in, but I like a 4th. So that's why that's there. Okay, so that is, at the end of this little section, I'm going to give you an even more expanded homework prompt on, well, it's not homework, we don't call it that, do we? I can't remember what I called it last time. An invitation for a weekly ritual. Sounds more enlightening and positive. Because of course you don't have to do any practice in between, but if you want to, you'll have a handout that I will put in the Telegram group with the prompts for a 3-card reading. Again, just expanding the things that you're doing. So we're just growing our practice bit by bit. Okay, so we're going to go over this in detail at the end. Let's just move on to another spread so that we're just having an overview at the moment of different spreads. So this is the one that I use 90% of the time. But sometimes I'm like, oh, I just got that feeling. I want to give myself a reading. I just want to really orientate myself and just just kind of give myself the chance to ask the cards to guide me on where I'm at, where I'm going, what my blind spots are. Is there anything I need to know that I don't know? It's kind of just a, hey, can you just give me a little snapshot of where I am right now, but in more detail than a 3-card reading. So that's where I will use this one called the Celtic Cross Spread. So as you can see, we've got in the number 1 position, we've got a card which will represent where you are now. You will then place another card on top of it and sort of cross the card on top of it lengthways. And that represents the challenge that you've got in where you are right now. Your third card will represent, okay, this is what you need to focus on. Number 4, this represents your past or what is leaving. Number 5 is what your strengths are. That's a really wonderful one, just a little sidebar. The number of times I get that card and I'm like, I forgot that those are my strengths. And that's been a really good reminder of what I can draw on at whatever point I'm in at life. So all these cards can have like little gifts for you. Number 6, your near future. That can be really, really fun. And then these ones going up from the bottom, we've got your suggested approach, what you need to know. That's another really fab one. The number of times I pull that for myself and go, oh, that's what I'm missing. Like, that's what I need to know. So that's a really fun card in the spread. Number 9, what your shadow is. Again, we're always going to have an element of a soul lesson, which is around that devil card. What's your shadow? Because, you know, we're human beings. We're imperfectly perfect. We are flawed. We are here like a little onion with all these layers constantly being revealed of more and more things that we need to work on in order to grow and develop. So that can be really great just to go, oh, right now, this is in my shadow. And then lastly, oh, I've put card 20. Okay, it should be card 10. Forgive me. And so the last one is your potential future. So as you can see, that's just much more meaty. What I love about using spreads where all the cards have got meanings is that it kind of takes some of the effort out of trying to read your cards because each place has a meaning. But what you might find, which I find, again, like maybe 60% of the time, is that it doesn't matter what I ask my cards to talk about, they will talk about what they want to talk about. So sometimes for me, trying to do cards with positions, I don't really find this one. I find my cards behave with this one. But with other spreads, sometimes my cards will just refuse to. They just want to talk about what they want to talk about. And as I pull them, I start to build a picture and understand quite quickly what my intuition is trying to alert me about. So yeah, just a thing on that. If you find the same, that you find that spreads don't really answer the questions you're asking, then you may also have a relationship with your cards like I do, where the cards are just going to talk about what they're going to talk about, and you've just got to accept it. Anyone that has cards that really behave, then you are very lucky. Okay, this is a lovely one. This is called the Meet Your Spirit Guide one. We talked, I think mostly in week 1, about like what is giving you this information. And there are so many different beliefs out there, and who knows? At the end of the day, you can only go with what ideas vibe with you. For me, I do feel like it is, it can be anything. I do feel like it can be anything from angelic guidance, but particularly it's my guides. And if you've never come across the concept of having guides, literally it's just this idea that there are more wise beings. People call them ascended masters. It really doesn't matter. But basically you're being guided. You're being guided, and your guides can look like anything. They can be animals, they can be ancestors, angels, people, whatever. I don't get too much into the what, as you can tell. All I know is that when I ask for guidance, I get it. And it's coming from something, and I say my guides. So use your own language. And so if you are just starting this journey where you're like, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. Who are these guides? Then this is an amazing spread for you as a beginner at tarot to meet them. So here we've got the first card represents your guide. I'm going to give you a little extra tip here on that particular card. I love bringing in sometimes my oracle cards, particularly ones that are animal ones. Not a lot of my guides are I do have guides that are animals that are kind of like body protectors and things. Don't really find my animal guides tend to give me a lot of guidance. But I do find that the animal oracle decks will give you archetypes and personalities. And so that can really help with fleshing out an idea of the personality that your guide has. So sometimes I just don't use tarot for that particular position. I'll go grab one of my oracle decks that talks more about personality types, and animal decks do that a lot. So that's just this is a small thing. If all of that just felt like crazy talk, just ignore it. Okay, card 2. This is what your guide wants you to know. This can be very beautiful. It's always going to be very like, oh, really? I can have some confidence in this area. That's really lovely. Number 3 position is a message from your guide that you're ignoring. Love that. The number of times I'll, again, read it and just go, oh, yes. I have had that transient thought go through my brain so many times, but I haven't quite listened to it. So that can be really useful. Card 4, how to develop a stronger connection with your guide. Number 5, what your guide wants to help you with. So yeah, if that feels good for you, do it. It's beautiful. And if it doesn't, move on. Okay, 12-month spread. I suggest doing this. This is a great time of year to be doing it. I do it New Year's Eve every year, but I have 2 different types that I do, which I will talk about now. And I've only done one so far, so I do need to actually make time to do the second one. And for me, this is just so fun to do a reading. And basically, you're going to set out each of the cards like a clock face. So you're going to have 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, blah, 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 blah. And though each of those positions, as you can guess, represent each month of the year. So 12 o'clock, that's your January, February, March, blah, blah, blah. And so I have a couple of different ways that I love to do this. I really love to use all the decks in the house. So it's like my particular tarot deck that I'm connected with at the time, plus all of my oracle cards. Now, if that feels a bit overwhelming, then maybe just stick to an oracle deck or a tarot deck only, because it does kind of command quite a bit of energy because each time in between each card that you pull, you've got to tune in to where your intuition is telling you to reach for next, like which of all these different decks to do. But I just make sure that when I do this reading, I have got space. I don't have anybody around me. I'm feeling like I've got the energy. I wouldn't do it if I'm feeling depleted. And I just make like a real old time of it. I, light all my candles and I put my beautiful music on. I light my incense, and it's just this really beautiful moment. And then you end up with this gorgeous, piece of paper with all these potential themes for each month of the year. And then I just pin it up on my wall. And it's just amazing just to keep going back to it and going, oh yeah, what was January? What happened in January? And the number of times it's mind-blowingly accurate. And so I guess I was just thinking then, I suppose you would think that I'd be using this to, tell me what's going to happen in the year. But I don't ask, that's not my intention. My intention is more, what is the theme going to be that month? And again, it just helps, like throughout the month, I might dip in and just look at it and go, is that theme coming up for me? I've got to remember that whatever the theme is inferring, I've got to remember this month. This might support me. So I do it more from that point of view. I don't want to know I'm really, like I kind of said in my social media about tarot, and you might have caught some of these videos. I'm not actually interested in using tarot to go, I don't know, how many kids am I going to have? Am I going to get married? When am I going to move house? I'm not really interested in fortune telling. It's more about using using this as a tool to gain support for how can I help navigate my way through my life. Okay, so that is one way to do it, where you use tarot and oracle cards. And then somebody last year happened to say, probably on TikTok, that it's really fun to do a 12-month spread just using the major arcana cards. So that obviously you're like, which soul lesson might be coming up as a theme each month? So that's the one that I've done so far. And actually that's a picture of it, which is really fun. But yeah, you can also do the other way or do any way that you like. But that's a really lovely annual one. Okie dokie. So, one thing I was going to say, actually, before we jump into that, I'm just going to stop sharing for a second, is I'm just giving you those. But obviously there are literally, if it might not be obvious, there are so many different spreads. And I just wanted to show you a good resource. Talking too fast. Some of you may be aware of this already and already have probably thought, I know where I'm going to get some ideas for some other spreads, but some of you might not. So this is a little meaning book for an oracle deck called Goddess Power. And what you will find at the front of I have to say almost, because I thought it would be everyone. And then I picked up this one earlier, thinking I'll find an example in there. And actually, they've got them, but they've only written them out. They haven't got them with lovely diagrams. So I'm just going to pin this for you. So at the front of most of your oracle decks, you will find a whole bunch of spreads with all the different positions and all the different questions. So, I'm surprised because I get really excited when I look at these, and yet I never, ever use them. I probably did it once or twice when I first got my first set of cards and loved it. And for some reason, it just never, ever drops into my mind. I never think of trying these different spreads out at the front. But if you're feeling excited by it, then remember that's your intuition talking to you. Remember how we've talked, I'm just going to take the spotlight off myself so I can see you guys again. Remember we've talked about how your intuition talks to you, do this thing, this is for you, it feels expansive, it feels exciting, like your body literally will give you the signs. You need to get way more out of your head and sink way more into your body when it comes to decision making. So if you're, for example, thinking, am I going to be someone that's more into spreads, or am I going to be more like Kia, who just generally does the 3-card spread plus however many other cards I need to get to the solution? Which am I? You're not going to use your head. You're going to sink into your body. You might close your eyes, might have a hand on your heart, and you're going to just imagine each one, and you're going to notice, oh, I'm feeling excited about that, or a kind of the opposite, being like, I'm a bit drained at that thought, or it's almost like I just kind of want to resist it. That's your body telling you that's a no for you. So remembering your intuition uses impulses in your body and feelings in your body to communicate a yes and a no with you. Alrighty, let's dive into the 3-card reading. And I'm going to give you an example of how to use the prompts that you've got in your handbook, whatever they're called, handouts. Okay, so this is obviously our 3-card spread. And here I have pulled 3 cards. I've got the 8 of Swords as the first card. So generally for me, the first card that I draw will tell me, it will start to infer what the cards want to talk to me about. Second card, we've got the 10 of Wands. Then we've got the 6 of Cups. And in the 4th position, this kind of action card, what do I need to do? We've got the Star reversed. So I have given up, as I was saying, on saying to my cards, I want to know what my desire is, or my obstacle and my solution, because my cards just literally will go, no, what you need to know is this, Kia, and it will just tell me anything. So I actually don't use those headings underneath the cards. But I would suggest that you start off by trying, because if your cards do adhere to the meanings and answer your questions, and it's really helpful, it's just a little bit easier. Okie doke. So I've pulled these cards. What do I do next? Well, next I start writing down. Now, you don't have to use the worksheet as a worksheet. Sorry, the handout as a worksheet. You don't have to fill it in. I literally will draw these out in a notebook. I'm just filling in the handout to give you an example, but you'll go through a huge amount of A4 paper if you do this, especially if you're pulling lots and lots of cards. So I'm just doing this for explaining how to understand your cards for that purpose. Okay, so I write down 8 of Swords, and then I look up the meaning. Well, first of all, obviously I go through all the normal steps. I look at the image, I notice, is there anything speaking to me? I notice what I notice. I don't go through a list. I'm going to give you a few examples, but my brain isn't ticking off this list. I'm looking at it and going, what do I notice? And some things I might notice might be symbolism. I'm noticing the water. I'm noticing the blindfold, the moon, the night sky, the fact that she's barefoot in nature. Then I might be like for me, my intuition comes in quite strong with feelings. So it might be, oh God, I'm feeling dread. Oh, I'm feeling a bit anxious looking at that. I'm feeling a bit repulsed. Or it could be like I'm feeling something, it wouldn't be with this card, but maybe the imagery is making me feel like really free or something really positive. So I notice what I notice, and sometimes that's enough. And I just write that down, and I have an absolute knowing. My body is giving me yes impulses that say we don't need to like look it up. That is what it is. Or I will look it up. And then I will look up all the different meanings. So in fact, well, let's just do it as an example. If I grab the Eight of Swords, let's see if that's all there is the meaning, or if there's more. I imagine there's probably more. Okay, Eight of Swords. So, and it's upright. So I'm just going to read out to you what I would be reading as I look it up in my notes, in my cheat sheet. So it could be that you're stuck in your head, negative thinking, you're feeling tied up, you might be feeling a bit victim-y, you might have a story in your head that says, I'm stuck. And the advice is to look out for self-imposed limitations, just let go and be free. Now, when I pulled this card, I obviously got a knowing. My knowing was, oh my God, I'm feeling anxious and stressed out. This is what this card means. So in this example, I obviously didn't look at my notes because what I've written down as the meaning is not what's in the notes. That was obviously a knowing. Okay, so then I move on. I don't get into that too much. Yeah, my brain might already kind of go there and go, I know what I'm stressed about, but I don't really try to figure it out yet. I just notice what I notice, write down what I notice and move on to the next card. The next card, when I looked at that, is, I mean, overburdened is one of the meanings that you'll find in the notes on that one. But for me, it was like, I just have a knowing. It means overburdened. I just knew it. And you'll get like this. You'll get to the point that you will perhaps write down all the meanings for each card, and then you'll look at them all and go, okay, let's connect some dots here. Which things am I feeling? And I'm like, okay, I can cross those out. I'm not feeling those, and maybe circle all the things you are. Over time, you'll just get to the point that you'll just be really quick with it and go, I know that definitely resonates. And then you'll just stop looking for other options because you just know. Okay, Six of Cups. This is about reconnecting with playful aspects of yourself, and the advice is to do something fun and joyful. Great. So then what does the star in reverse mean? This means you need to nurture a sense of hope. So then I put those together, feeling anxious, overburdened, need to reconnect with playful aspects of myself, need to nurture a sense of hope. And then I try and put it into a 1 or 2 sentence meaning. So to me, this meant to me, Kia, you're feeling stressed out. You need to go and do something fun, something joyful, something playful, and you need to reconnect with hope again. And put in brackets, just like, again, this intuitively came through, not fear. And so I've had a wonderful time making pottery and just doing really beautiful things for myself. And I would say I have, without effort, from doing that reading, reconnecting with playful aspects, I feel like I've arrived back in myself, and that this debilitating anxiety that came over me for a day has now lifted. How beautiful is that? So that is how I would go about doing your 3-card reading. Was there anything after that? Before we get into expanding on the steps for your invitation to kind of do this as a ritual before next week, has anybody got any questions? I'm just going to stop sharing this and have a little look at you guys. Give me a little wave or unmute if you've got a question. Well, that's wonderful. That's obviously all making sense. Okay, cool. So going back into our notes. I'm doing. Oh, is somebody unmuting because they got a question? Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. Sorry, can you hear me? Is that right?
Hi,
when you do the 3-card spread, what do you say to yourself when you're doing it? Do you sort of set your intention?
Good point. Good question. Yes, I didn't repeat it because I've said it before with the 1-card readings, but I should have repeated it. I just ask, what do I need to be aware of? So that same question that you guys have had in each of your homeworks, that's all I ever do. Occasionally, I will be like, right, what is going on with this situation? And I'll be like, cards, tell me about why I am feeling this way, or not knowing the answer to that, or what am I meant to do? And again, the cards might answer, or I might pull them and go, oh, we're talking about this other thing that's going on in my life. This is more important. So yes, I might ask, but like, yeah, the cards will say what they want, but that's
with any sort of combination of card spread that you do, you still do that?
I do tend to, yeah, just what do I need to be aware of? That has just not let me down. And I think it's because My cards do only talk about what they want to talk about. I've just over the years just kind of given up with trying to go, tell me about this specific thing. Apart from the Celtic cross and sometimes things like Meet Your Spirit Guide, they do tend to behave then. But really, I'm not often drawing my cards for that sort of thing. I draw my cards more for day-to-day support. So that question of what do I need to be aware of is pretty much what
if you were doing a 3-card spread for somebody else, would you say to them, what is your intention, or what do you want to get out of this? What do you want, because like you said, you didn't want, you don't think tarot is about predicting the future and stuff. And personally, yes, I agree with that. I think it's just giving you an insight into where you are now and hopefully confirming what you're thinking, feeling, kind of thing, or just like, whoa, you want to be going over there, not there, kind of thing.
Yes. So I'll answer both of those parts. Because I do think that I absolutely agree that it is possible to use tarot just to fortune tell. Some people go massively into the numerology and the symbolism to figure out, okay, this card will mean 2 months, 1 year, whatever. But for whatever reason, sorry, I can smell burning. That is because we're burning our notes. But you notice, it's okay. You absolutely could do it that way. I just don't have any interest in it. So just to be clear, I'm not saying you can't do it. It's absolutely possible. It just doesn't align for me. But there's no shade on anybody that wants to use it that way. No problem. To answer your first question, I'm just checking my ears because there's a lot of smoke. This seems to be fine. What do I do? Great question. When I'm reading for other people, I tell them the same thing that I've just told you. So I'm going to have to put some water on my notes because they are smoking a lot. I say, think about a question you might want answered. Think about something that's going on that's feeling pretty challenging that you'd like some insight from the cards. And then I warn them that the cards will talk about what you need to know. So it might not answer it at all, and we will figure out together what they're actually talking about. So I just treat them as if they're me and just give them a heads up that that's how the cards work for me. Any other questions whilst we're having some questions? Oh, there's something in the chat.
It's from me, Kia.
Oh, hey, Leah.
Hi, love.
Do you always, other than the 12 card spread, use a mix of minor and major arcana? Great question, Leah. I do. Yes, I always use the full deck. And again, I did mention this in week 1 when we're talking about you make your own practice. But be whatever feels good to you. Some people just use major. I find that kind of mind-blowing and quite exciting and incredibly audacious. So I love it. I'm pretty rebellious myself. So if you want to just use the major arcana or even heck the minor arcana, you can do whatever you like. But I personally, I do use both. Okay, is that another question or is it still? No, it's still telling me there's one in there. Oh, hang on, did something just pop up then? No, it's just refreshing itself. Okay, any other questions before we move on? Okay, cool. Let's keep going. No, what's it doing? Oh, maybe it is working. For some reason, it was just sharing, for me, my notes about something completely different, but then it reset itself and it looked like it was sharing the slides. Okay, it's behaving for sure. All right, so like I said, every week you get given a kind of a ritual to follow, and we've expanded it now into the 3-card reading steps. So this is what I will send you, and I recommend that you just, whenever you want to do your 3-card reading, you have this next to you as a prompt to help you to work through it. I'm just going to just make sure everybody's muted. Don't worry if you're not, because I've done it. Okay, so we're doing a 3-card reading. Number 1, I've just talked you through this at the start. You're going to connect with your cards, might be rubbing your hands. When I pick up my cards, I like to feel if I feel connected to them. And if I don't, can you guys remember this one? Give it a knock, front and back. I also, if I still don't feel connected, like to do a little, but with a little blow. It's just this intention of connecting my energy with the cards. And it's just what came to me naturally. You do you. Then you will want to be shuffling the cards and asking yourself the question, what do I need to be aware of today? And also feel free to, if another question comes into your awareness that you naturally go to ask, then trust that. Trust whatever comes for you to make it your own personal process. Then I will pull my 3 cards. And remember, in the previous 2 homework rituals, I was sharing that you need to be playing with different ways of pulling your cards. You might want to spread them all out and pick from the top. You might do flyers like I do, where you will, let's see if we'll get a flyer right now to give us an example. So they'll either fly out or fall out. Oh, there we go. The fact that that one just came out like that, what I will do is if it doesn't fall fully out, I will just check in before I pull it and be like, is this the card? And I will get the most subtle, lovely little inward like inflection of like, oh yeah, like it's a little positive feeling. And if it's a no, I will get either completely neutral or almost a little kind of heaviness almost in my being. And that will tell me no. So, you know, this whole process is about you slowing down, connecting in, asking questions, expecting instant answers, and noticing what you notice, particularly when it comes to any body impulses that give you that guidance if it's a yes or a no, it's a yes, you pull this card, or it's not. So the whole thing is just notice what you notice, be really, really present. Okay, so however you pull your cards, you've then got your 3 cards. And what I do is I turn them all up at the same time. I didn't actually put that in your notes, but it doesn't matter. You can do it one at a time. You can do it all. And I will look at them all and, like we've already gone over, notice what you notice. What is your first intuitive hit? So I'll kind of look at them all as a whole. And my mind tends to kind of then notice in the imagery, is there anything that's jumping out at me? Again, the symbolism is huge in tarot. You can read just looking at symbolism if you wanted to. So noticing that. Again, is it a feeling? Remember with that card, the 3-card reading where I just gave you an example, I had a feeling and a knowing that it was that first card of that woman sort of tied up with swords. That just felt like that was about feeling really anxious. Even though when I looked up the meaning just now for you guys, it's like anxious actually isn't written down, but it was just a knowing. So write down anything like that, that's a knowing. And then I look at the cards from left to right. So I've sort of taken it in, I've had a first impression. I've written down anything that jumps out at me. And then I'm going to ask myself, okay, are there any cards that have a standout meaning to me based on my life experiences? So, yeah, like I've shown you the one before of the woman in a boat with her back turned to the world, which I pulled just before going on my initiation. So for example, something like that, where I therefore have a meaning about that. Like you're about to go on an adventure. You're going to have to trust, have faith, draw on your inner resources. So that's all amazing information for when you're pulling for somebody else to kind of be giving that language. And then will be giving you little nods and like, yeah, that really, really resonates. And letting you know what is working for them. So the first thing I do is, are there any cards where I just have a meaning? So I don't have to look anything up because I just know what that meaning is for me. So I kind of check that off. Then I ask myself, okay, so what have we got? Have we got major, minor? Have we got a mix? What's happening? So if they're all major, it's not very often, and I'm just going to take a drink. It's not very often that my 3 cards are all major arcana. If they are, then I notice that and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is about a really big soul lesson. I'm learning some big, big stuff here. This isn't about the frippery little challenges and niggles and why is this person behaving this way or what do I do there? It's just literally big stuff. So notice that. Again, so I've put here, if it's all major arcana, you think to yourself, oh, okay. Sorry, we're talking about a significant soul lesson. It's something that I need to learn. It's an archetype I need to become. So already you're just giving yourself the context. You're setting up the scene. This is what this reading is going to be about. If it includes minor arcana, then the first question I'm going to ask myself is, what suits are coming up? I cannot tell you how often I do a 3-card reading and in it I have one major arcana, soul lesson, and two suits that are the same suit. That's so helpful. I did a reading for someone today, and it was that. And then I did a reading for myself, and I also had the same thing, just different suits and a different soul lesson. And it's really helpful because, I'm just going to stop sharing this a second, because if you're pulling something like what did I get today? Okay, I pulled for this a person 2 wands and a major arcana. So the major arcana was like, this is the big lesson we're talking about. Because we've pulled 2 wands, what do wands mean? What do they represent? Wands are all about ideas and desires. So it's like, this is the big soul lesson you're going through and that you're struggling with. The answer is your thinking and about your desires. It's about your options, about what it is that you are desiring, what it is you're wanting to start. So it's just so useful to look at it through that lens of, is it minor, is it major? And then when I did it for myself, I got a major arcana, and my 2 minor arcanas that I'd pulled were both pentacles. So immediately, I'm like, what do pentacles represent? Well, that's about physical stuff. It's going to be about my health. It's going to be about the things that I have. It's going to be maybe about my business. And it's in relation to this soul lesson. So already you've mapped out the context. This is the thing that you're learning, and it's something to do with what you have or what you want or your body or something like that, that is the answer or is the thing that you need to look at. So that's just an example. I'll get the notes back up of, when you're checking, is it a mix? Is it one arcana or the other? Those are the kind of things that you're looking to spot. So going back to our list, we've had a look and we've noticed those kind of things. I've already said, if it's pentacles, you're thinking, okay, it's about something physical. If it's wands, it's about desire. I'll give you the other 2. If it's cups, it's about your emotions. Okay, you've got a lot of feelings going on and you're going through this big soul challenge. Again, to use the example of 1 major arcana and 2 minor arcanas of the same suit. And if it was swords that came up in the minor arcanas, it's like, it's about your mindset. It's about conflict. It's about how you're thinking. Okay, so that's just to kind of set your scene. Next thing I do, if there are minor arcana cards, is look to see, are there any repeating numbers? Because if I've pulled the 3 of pentacles, and the 3 of swords, then I know that 3 energy is really important. My brain goes, going back to that, the triangle, minor arcana hero's journey handout, I would mentally go back to that and go, what does a 3 represent? I remember what it is. It's all about community, people, support. And so if I've got 2 3s in different suits, I'm like, we're really talking about, are you perhaps not feeling supported? Are you overlooking the fact that you do have support? You're just looking for patterns like that to just help you understand why the cards that have turned up. Okay, and I've put that, I did 3 as an example here: community, collaboration, support. Okie doke. So now you've been looking at your cards a bit longer because you've been looking to see, have I got suits, have I got main, have I got minor, what's going on? So because you've been looking at your cards for a bit longer, you then want to just notice, what else am I now noticing? Because all the time that you've been looking at that, your eyes will have been taking in all of the imagery, and things will possibly, if they're there to intuitively guide you, they will have been getting your attention. So anything that you notice, you're noticing for a reason. And you need to ask yourself, why am I looking at I've just picked up the Ace of Wands here. Woo, and I'm throwing it. And it's got lots and lots of bumps. Now, some people might look at that and they might be looking at this beautiful wand with all the floristry going down it, or they might be looking at the river. My eyes just caught the bumps. So immediately I'm noticing something bumpy. Okay, well, bumpy things might mean that something's a bit uncomfortable right now. It might be you've been through lots of hurdles. There's maybe some hurdles to come. So you're just noticing anything that has jumped out in the imagery. And you note down, what do you notice? And again, it might not just be a symbol or something in the picture. It could be a feeling. You've been looking at them a bit longer, and you want to notice if any feelings are coming over you, if anything is jumping into your awareness of what you feel that card might mean, or what you're literally feeling when you look at it. Note it down. Okay, so now you've already intuitively pulled quite a bit of information. You've looked at what you've got going on, minor, major, numbers, etc. You've twice asked yourself and taken a moment to go, what am I intuitively picking up on? What's trying to get my attention? So you've noticed what you notice. Now is the time to go, okay, let's look up the real meanings. Well, not the real meanings, I shouldn't call them that, but the meanings in your handout to see if we can flesh this out a bit more and see basically if anything else resonates. And so as I go through each of those meanings, I will literally just ignore anything that doesn't give me this very subtle, like, oh, that, yes, that kind of feeling. It's so subtle, it's hard to put words to it. It's like if words just feel like words, it just feels like nothing. And then you'll read a sentence and be like, ooh, there's something in that. I only write down that sentence where there's something in it. I don't flood myself with too much information. Listen to those intuitive impulses to write down only the bits that feel relevant. And then once I've got the 3, I do that last step that we just did in the previous one, if it's going to let me go back, which is at the very bottom. What do you think the cards are saying in 1 or 2 sentences? So then I sum it all up and I write a reflection. I have a dedicated journal for this, of what I feel each card is saying and what the overall meaning could be. So as you can see, our weekly steps to doing yourself a reading has expanded a little bit more, which is very exciting. So I'm just going to remind myself what we're doing next. Oh, amazing. We actually got through everything really quickly. I'm going to check my notes and you guys just take a moment to let all that sink in and think as to whether you've got any questions. Let's see. Okay, awesome. Okay, yeah, I did have one other idea for what we were going to do this evening. If we got through that quicker, I thought we might do tonight, which is that you guys can give yourself a 3-card reading, going through those steps, and I'm right here. And then any questions that you come up with on the spot, we're like, oh, I don't want you to be doing that without me. I'm right here and I can answer them. So we're going to, I think what we'll do is we'll take a quick I gave you 2 minutes last time, it felt scant. Let me give you a 4-minute break so you've got time to make a cup of tea or visit the bathroom or anything you need to do. Get yourself more cozy. Go get your cards. If you don't have your cards, we're going to be using them. And you want to have a pen and something to write down on. And when we come back, we'll answer any questions and then we'll do a 3-card reading for ourselves. All right, I'll see you at 11 minutes past-ish, maybe 12 minutes past. Alrighty. Okay, so just going through a few things that you will want to make sure that you have. Like I just mentioned, in case anybody's forgetting, you obviously need your tarot cards. You will want something to write with and to write on. And then, I kind of gave you the invitation that you might want something like an altar cloth, especially if you're somebody that prefers to fan them and spread them along and then pull from the top, then this can really help. So you might want one of those. And of course, you will want to have your handouts, won't you? But I'm right here if you've forgotten them and you need to ask any meanings. Okay, I've just seen there's another question actually from Corinne. When you're shuffling for a big spread, do you let all the cards fall out or do you use another method of pulling? Great answer. Yeah, if you're having to pull 12 cards for like the Celtic Cross or something, I actually do just let them fly. So I do just keep shuffling and let them fly out. Every now and then, it's not very often, probably only 10% of the time, I will feel like altar cloth, spread out and pick that way. Those are pretty much the only two ways that I pick. But yeah, the letting them fly out has just always given me such accurate readings. So yes, the answer is yes. Okay, any other questions actually before we get started with our 3-card reading? Okay, so I will pull up the prompt. So we're basically going to do a little practice of it together so that when you're doing it on your own this week, you'll feel confident. So picking up your cards, go ahead and connect with your cards, however it works for you. And again, then sort of it actually is helpful kind of demonstrating it because it helps me to kind of put in all these little extra tips. So it's as I am inhaling, holding them against my heart space that I'm asking and setting that intention of what I'm asking for, what support I'm asking for. And so at this point, I'm asking in my head, what do I need to be aware of today? And then I'm starting to shuffle. So I kind of actually ask it first. Okay, one's already flown out, beautiful. This is a great example. For me, a whole bunch have just fallen out. I have mentioned this before, but I'll just mention it again. When loads fall out, my rule is they go back in. If 2 cards fly out, my rule is that stands. Okay, we've just pulled 2, that's fine. But if loads fall out, then I just think of it as just the energies sorting itself out in my deck, and I just put them back in. Interestingly, 2 flew out, so there you go. I do trust that. And as I'm putting them down, I'm doing it slowly. I'm noticing this is how I'm holding them, so this is their position. I'm not flipping them so that the uprights and the reverse could be anything. I'm going, okay, that's what they look like, so I'm putting them straight down in that position. And I'm also, because I've pulled 2, I'm just tuning in and thinking, is the one on top the second position or is it the third? And I'm feeling it's the second. Okay, so you continue to do that until you've pulled 3 cards and have them in front of you. And when you do have 3 cards, you're going to turn all 3 over. And you're just going to look at them, notice what you notice, write down anything you notice. So we're looking at the imagery. I've immediately got a ridiculous sign. Okay. I'm also noticing where my eyes are being pulled. I'm really trying to look at the 3rd card, but my eyes are just being pulled back to my middle card. So notice if something like that is happening for you. And if it does, then go back to where your eyes are being pulled to and kind of, I'm internally asking, okay, what's trying to get my attention? What do I need to notice? I'm asking my guides to help me. Notice if any words pop into your awareness. Do you hear a sentence? Do you hear a word? Anything that's coming through, write that down. Feelings are starting to come in for me. Notice if there's any feelings. Okay. Just going to give you 30 more seconds of noticing what you notice, your intuitive hits. Okay, so now you're going to look at the cards from left to right, and you're going to ask yourself, I mean, as you guys are on a beginner's course, I'm guessing probably you don't have cards that have a certain meaning, but this is the point where you'd go, oh, it's that card that always means this for me. You would then notice that at this point. Moving on to the next one, which is number 6. Are they major? Are they minor? Are they a mix? Lovely. And then if they're all major, you're like, oh, okay, we're talking about a major significant soul lesson. I need to learn something big here. There's an archetype perhaps that I need to become, or a couple. If it's all minor cards, then you're going to notice what are the suits. Are they different? But are there, is there more than one that's the same suit? Are they all the same suit? Oh, that's like a massive hint. It's like, whatever the meanings are for each of the suits. If it's all 3 cards of the same suit, then it's like we're definitely talking about this, whatever that suit represents. So you're noticing what kind of cards you've got. Okie doke, you're noticing any numbers now, right? If you've got minor arcana number cards, are there any repeating numbers? And if they're not, nothing to write down. Okay, so now we're at number 9. Now you've been looking a bit longer at the cards. Is there anything else that you notice? Don't try and notice everything, just is anything else standing out? And write down anything else that you notice. And you're not trying to make anything mean anything, you're just looking and being aware of anything almost like leaping out at you. Okay, now it's time to get your handouts. Either just look at them online or, on your device, or if you've got printouts, start now looking at the meanings. And you might, at this point, want to draw them out. That's what I would do. So right now, I am going to just draw it and hold it up. And notice I've only drawn 3 right now. My action card generally comes at the end. Sometimes, like with the example I showed you, it flew out at the beginning. That was fine. But yeah, at the moment it's just 3 cards. Unless you've had more fall out, which is fine. So if you can see me in my little box, I have just drawn them out like that. And now I'm going to look at my meanings and write down underneath in each card any meanings from the handouts that resonate, that feel like yes. And as you're learning, if you're like, I'm not sure yet, I haven't connected with my intuition that strongly, it's not that loud, Kia, then just write down everything. That can work too. That's probably what I did in the beginning. And don't worry if you're not at this point yet for the next little tip. Just take your time. But I've now got to the point where I've written down the meanings from my handouts that resonate the most for me. So now I'm also going to add in, underneath each card, the notes I made initially. I'm going to actually show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to just pin myself so you can see exactly what I mean. Spotlight. So I started off with, I wrote down the rainbow. It doesn't matter about, you don't know that there's a rainbow, but basically I pulled this card. The rainbow stood out at me because I did a shamanic journey earlier and I was shown a rainbow and what it meant for my life. So I'm like, oh. So you can see here, like how normally that wouldn't have meant anything. It would have meant something completely different. But because today I was shown a rainbow is going to mean X in your life, it's like so interesting that when I'm asking, what do I need to be aware of? It's like, don't forget the rainbow, because I could be terrible for receiving messages and completely forgetting about them. So I wrote that at the top. Now down here, this is my area where I'm writing about the 10 of Cups. So I've written down what's in the handouts. Now I'm going to go back up here and go, now what did I pick up on? Oh yeah, the rainbow. There was a star and paint in my next one. So now I'm going to write underneath these things I picked up on underneath each of the cards. So that's just kind of like your next step, if you're going to follow exactly the way I do it. Okay, so now we're at the point where we have written out each of our meanings, the ones out of the handout and also any intuitive things you picked up on. At this point, I would do one of two things. If any of the cards, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get what we're talking about, because already I'm starting to piece together what the cards are talking about in my life. But sometimes I don't. Sometimes a particular card just feels like, mwah. So at that point, I might draw one more. So it's funny. I'm like, just pick any card here for it. But I'm like, oh, what if there's something amazing coming out, which something just did. So then so interesting. Okay. So then I will put this like on top of the card that I say I didn't understand this card. I put it like on top of there. So then I've got in front of me my 3 cards, and then I've got this one on top of the card I didn't understand. So that represents we're talking about that. So I might pull cards, I might pull several more if I'm like, I'm still not getting it. Because like I said to you at the start, sometimes those 3 positions really are, the first card is like, this is what we're talking about. The second card is kind of, this is the issue. And the third card talks about either this is what's going to happen, but for me, because I'm always wanting the steps, the action, like what do I do? I'm more interested in that. That's usually what my cards talk about. Like the third card is often, and this is what you do about it. But like I said, sometimes it takes 3 cards talking to each other for me to go, this is the subject. At that point, I'm drawing more cards to be able to get to a point of feeling like I've received the message. Now, when I'm at that point, so it might just be 3 cards I've drawn, it might be 7, 10, whatever. Then I'll ask for the action card, that little one on the here we go. This little one over here that's on the side. This little, okay, thanks for the message. What do I need to do? Now, with this one, I will tune in and go, does this need to be an oracle card or does it need to be a tarot card? Because sometimes, like I have some fantastic decks. It's not here anymore. I have a great deck which is all about your shadow, which will it's just every single one. It just talks about some way that you're sabotaging yourself and has amazing questions and prompts to get yourself out of it. So if it really feels like it is something along that theme, I will go and grab that oracle deck. Again, I won't just do it because my brain says it's a good idea. I will tune in and be like, do I need that one? And I'll just sense it. And then quite often, I don't need an oracle card, I need another tarot card. So now I'm at this point where I'm like, I totally understand what this is talking about, but I'm like, is there anything I need to do? Give me an action. Is there something I need to do? And again, like you can see that, I don't know if you can see, but lots fell out, so I put them back in. And I think that's because sometimes I find loads fall out, and it's literally as if Spirit is saying, you're not focusing, like slow down and return to your intention. Because like, obviously I'm teaching right now, so my brain is doing something else. So my cards are doing what they normally do to go, you're not fully linked in with us. So bringing yourself back in. Now guys, draw yourself a 4th card, and your intention with this card is a bit different. It's what do I need to do? What's my action card? If you pull 2, that is fine. Okay, so what I tend to do first is just draw them out on my piece of paper. So before I start to take in any first intuitive hits, I like to have them drawn out so I've got somewhere to write down any intuitive hits that are coming up. So I would say, if it's messy, don't worry. Just draw. I pulled 2 cards then, 2 fell out, so I've got 2 action cards. Just draw them out. And I'll also just say here that sometimes when I look up the meanings or I start tuning into what the meanings are, I'm like, it's not really an action. It's just more information about this thing. And then I kind of just think, I just tune in and I'm like, do I need an action card? Do I need to pull again? Or is this what it's not really about needing an action. It's more, here's some guidance, here's some confirmation, you're done. So again, as you can see, you're always tuning in for what the guidance is. I can see a question. Oh, no problem, Charlotte, if you're still here. Good to have you. Okay, right, so you've written them down. Now you're going to look at the cards and go, what's jumping out at me? What am I noticing? Oh my God, that's crazy. Okay. Slow down enough as you're looking at the cards, noticing what you notice, to see if you're hearing anything as well. And when you feel like you've pulled enough from what you're noticing, then look up the meanings in your handouts. I've just realised we've just finished our 90 minutes. We're kind of going into the Q&A time, but there haven't been any questions so far. So we'll just spend like 5 more minutes on this. And then if there are any questions, we can do that. And if anybody has any questions but needs to go now, feel free to put any questions in the chat and I will answer them and you can watch them on the replay. Okay. And once you have written down those meanings, now you're going to look at it as a whole and try to put the whole reading into 1 or 2 sentences. I am being shown no, my intuition saying, don't explain it like that. Basically, look at what you've written down and just try and put it into a couple of sentences. How do you choose your Oracle decks? Oh, nice question, Wendy. I will answer that in a moment because I want you guys to stay with what you're doing because it's an important moment. Yeah, look at all your meanings and start to link up, in essence, what each card is saying, what they're saying as a whole. Practice it in your head first. What do I think this is saying? And then write it down. Another way to do this part, if you're like me, my brain is going, I don't want to write a sentence. So sometimes my brain's fine with it, but today it's not. And what I'm feeling is like, I'm just going to highlight what each card, like the specific thing for each card that is standing out, I'm going to highlight that. And that might be a good way, actually, if you have got a lot of meanings and you're really new to this and you're kind of still trying to figure out what it really is saying, highlight now what you've written down, only the parts that make you go, that feels alive. Yes, that's a good thing. And that will help you to create a sentence. Okay, so I think what we'll do is I'll finish by explaining what I experienced with my reading as a way to, to demonstrate. And then if you've got any questions, let's do questions. So first card I pulled, I'll just spotlight myself so a bit bigger. Okie doke, so I pull this card. Instantly, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did a shamanic drum journey today and I saw myself being put on, a bit like Mario Kart, the rainbow the rainbow thing, but it was very nice. It was still pretty like crazy, but it was like you have now been put on a new path. And it was very much fire horse energy. If you're aware of Chinese astrology, we're moving out of a snake year and into a fire horse year. So the snake year has been all about shedding, letting stuff go. It's been all about that kind of these major lessons in the major arcana of having to be the hanged man. Funny enough, I mentioned that today. The devil, all looking at your shadow and having to just like let go of stuff. And the fire horse energy is literally all about having drive and going. But we're not going to be able to go very far or really do that phase well if we haven't done a lot of shedding first. It doesn't mean that you can't have a great year, but if you have done a lot of work on yourself in the previous year, that is going to help set you up. So I'm like, oh, okay, so we're talking about like the path ahead. Great. When I looked up the real meaning, there was one sentence that felt alive for me, which is this path will bring you joy and satisfaction. I'm like, how interesting that my whole thing was about a path. And it actually has that word, this path. And I was shown in the journey, it's going to be a challenge as well. Nothing's, seems to be that easy. but it's going to give me joy and satisfaction. So there you go. There's a little bit of a meaning from me intuitively picking up on looking at the card, and a little bit from the meaning in the handout. Next one I pulled was this card, and the star really, really jumped out at me because I had a thought earlier, and as I was having the thought, my eyes landed on my pajamas, which have stars on them, and the star, there's like only a few stars on it, and this star jumped out really importantly to me, and it made me go, gosh, this thought I've just had as something that I'm going to include in the book that I'm writing is really important. So I'm like, okay, so I'm on this new path. Very much today in this journey I did for myself, it was about the book that I'm writing. And so it was interesting to be like, okay, there's a little reminder. So then when I look up the meaning in the handouts, what did it have? Oh yeah, it was like, just do the work. And that tells me, yeah, I do just have to sit down and flipping write. Okay, fine. I also really noticed this plinth, and a plinth, again, this is a great example of using your own symbology. For me, a plinth is all about being ready, being stable, and having good solid foundations. And it's like, after everything I've been through this last year, it just felt like I'm ready. There's my plinth. So that jumped out. Okay, then I pulled this King of Swords in reverse. And what I got from that was not a significant person in my life anymore, but a relationship I am now thankfully out of. It felt like this represented it, and that it was just, I heard he's in the past now. Great. And then when I looked at the meaning, it's like an abusive man. When this man is in the reverse, it can be abusive. Tick. And that you've maybe felt really, really stifled. And I definitely did. So, and then I kind of drew this line between this first two cards and this card. And it intuitively, I just felt like I had to draw a line. And it's literally like, all this beautifulness, all this rainbow path you're now on is completely different because all of that is in the past. So I'm like, great, okay, cool. Thank you for all the reminders from my journey, because like I said, I get incredible intuitive guidance so often that I forget a lot of it, and that really frustrates me. And this is what I love about tarot, is that if you take time every day to draw your cards, quite often they'll go, don't forget the star, that big aha for your book. And don't forget that you had this journey and you haven't written anything down that happened in it because I got distracted and I need to go and do that. So that's another great reason, just like a side here. Tarot will remind you of the things that other sources of intuition are trying to get your attention about. It's a great reminder. Okay, doke. So then I pulled my action cards, and I got these two cards. Interestingly, I asked earlier for a snake, and the first thing I saw was the snake. I have never noticed the snake on this card before, and it was like, okay, great, that confirms that. And that was interesting. The meaning for this card, I didn't really get too much apart from the snake when I looked at it, but the meanings that I wrote down from in the handouts was that I need to just accept any changes and move on. And that again is back to this path relates to my business. So I've just got to accept, like, this is what I've got to do now, and it's going to be really, really challenging. But it says, you are, what was it? This new chapter, then funny enough, the next one means the new chapter is going to feel wonderful. And it actually said, you're going to feel the drive. And I had this huge download earlier about the way that I intuit in my business. I've just got to remember to keep coming back to whatever is feeling like driving me, like I really want to do this thing. That is all I need to do. I need to stop this sort of, again, this card, the challenge after challenge of feeling like my brain's got to make all the decisions and I've got to put pressure on myself to do what my brain thinks I should do. No, I don't. I need to come back to where I've got that drive, that excited energy. So that was a really beautiful, like literally, so my reading was essentially, you had quite a lot of ahas today. Let's remind you about all of them. You don't really have to do anything. You just have to remember. So I hope that was helpful in sharing what I experienced. Did anybody experience any stumbling blocks then in doing their own reading that you would like to just get some advice on? And there's a 2 in the chat, but I feel like those might be old messages. What is your shadow card deck called? Good question, Raphael. Cries of the Soul. Don't know how I remember that. That's obviously important. You better buy it. Cries of the Soul. And if you Google that and you're not sure, let me know. It's beautiful. The cards have got black glossy edges and it's like cream with black and like almost a fluorescent coral. So that's what it should look like. Anybody else? And feel free if you want to just unmute and ask any questions. If you did get stuck with your 3-card reading, it is a great opportunity to get some personalized answers right now. And if you didn't get stuck, congratulations, you're doing it. This is cool. Okay.
I would like to tell something.
Yeah.
I always let the cards jump out. So for the action card, I got 2 cards. And I only have minor cards, even the action cards. And with the action cards, there are 2 times 2 numbers. I have 2 times a 5 and 2 times a 6. And when I read about it, the meaning of my reading has something to do with make an action plan. Just look how you can do the work, how you can keep on going. And then I looked meaning from 5 and 6, and it's the storm and to pass the storm. And with one of the cards, yes, it was the 6 of Pentacles, I had the feeling this is all about balance. And this is so great. It's very great advice for me. Keep it in balance, make a plan, move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. You're doing a fantastic job there of being able to go, okay, that's what it's about. And that really is what these tarot readings are about. Just going, okay, it's quite often that sort of feeling of course, that's it. For me, right now with this situation, it's balance. So well done, Sylvia. Great reading. Yeah, Samantha, unmute, please, go for it.
Quick question. So I'm doing it real quick. So my first one was a Ace of Swords.
Yeah.
And I kind of put that as kind of like new beginnings.
Yeah.
And my second was 6 of Cups. And I kind of put that as reconnecting with playful self, joy. My third was one of the ones you picked as well, which keeps coming up for me. I did a 12-month reading at New Year's Eve like you did. And that keeps coming up for me all the time. The 8 of Pentacles. And I that's the same thing, do the work to get the joy. And then my action card was the Queen of Swords. And I thought, is that kind of looking at the boundaries to be able to access my joy? I need to put the boundaries in place to stop helping other people. That's what I kind of drew from it. Does that sound about right?
It does, yes. The first card that you drew was Swords, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ace.
So immediately, when you said it's about new beginnings, I'm like, in the mind.
Yes.
Swords about the mind. So the fact that it started with going, we're going to have a change in your mindset, and it finished with a people card who is the queen of mindset, then I would definitely delve into reminding yourself, okay, what does the archetype of this Queen of Swords look like? And so I'm just looking at it now. She's independent, she's strong, great boundaries. The fact that boundaries has jumped out for you,
yes.
I would say you've nailed it, Samantha. It's going to be,
thank you.
I need to have my boundaries. Well
Thank
done.
you so much, because that's been really bad for me. That's the one thing I've been really bad on. I just want to say, I picked this up. It's brilliant.
Oh,
so you
yay.
put your cards in there, and then you've got 3 little places to put your readers, and they're great, aren't they?
So good. That's a beautiful one. I've not seen that one before.
So it's got Luna on, and it's got butterflies and everything. So yeah,
Good.
only on Amazon.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Cheap as chips.
Yeah, I get so many good bargains for this. Wonderful. Okay, well done, Samantha. That is awesome. And a little bit of advice there with the next thing I would do if I'm like, I'm always struggling with boundaries, or maybe I'm always struggling with it in this particular area of my life. I wasn't taught how to do this. I don't know what's next. Then I would go back to the cards and go, talk to me about my boundaries. Just
right.
What do I need to know about my boundaries? And
thank you.
yeah, just keep going. And I'd also ask for life to give you signs as well. and just
Thank you.
your life. No worries. Did I see somebody else raise a hand just then? And has anybody else got any questions? Oh, yeah, Sylvia.
I just wrote it down. How do you call the things to keep your cards? How is it called?
Oh, I would call that a tarot deck wrap.
A wrap.
Yeah, wrap. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. I hate to be like, I need the thing, but I don't know what it's called. Oh, great. Yeah, I can see that in the chat. Okay, cool.
Literally 2 of them are less than £10 for 2.
Amazing. Woohoo! Yeah, I got mine from Temu, saying cheap as chips. Okie dokie, last chance for any questions, reflections, anything, or I'll let you go. Okay, well done, everybody. Oh, Wendy, is that hand going up? Yeah, go for it. Let me press the button to ask you to unmute so it comes up on your screen.
And no, it was just about how do you choose your tarot oracle decks, and what would you suggest for a first oracle deck?
Oh, well done, because I forgot to answer that. Thank you, Wendy. Again, what do you think I'm going to say? I'm going to feel that
Intuition.
Yeah. I would say a fantastic way. Oh no, my guys are saying they don't have to do that. What I was going to say, I'm still going to say it. What I was going to say is how I started, which was to go to shops that sell them, which for where I lived meant I'd have to go all the way up to London. There's not really anywhere, unfortunately, around me that does fabulous things like oracle decks. Because I like to kind of hold them in my hand. But I'm being reminded that probably the last 6 decks that I've bought them all online. How have I landed on them? I'm not even sure, you know. I have like a little thing that I do every year where I buy myself a deck for Christmas, and I buy it in the summer so I completely forget about it, and I wrap it up, and so it's like a nice surprise. And I nearly always get that from Amazon, because as I'm buying things, I guess all the algorithm knows what stuff I'm into, even though I'm not searching for oracle decks particularly. And I'll see something and I'll just put it in my shopping basket, and at some point when I've got a refund or something and I've got some spare money, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to get that for Christmas. So I get some through Amazon, and they are great. Yeah, I guess, you know what? I don't even know how they've come across my life, but I just do go intuitively, do I feel good about this? So yeah, sorry, you can't really give any more than that.
Can you remember the name of the animal one that you said about?
Oh, it is by Steve. Anybody know the Steve guy that does lots of animal decks?
No.
There is a guy called Steve something, or Stephen. I cannot remember. I can pop it in the WhatsApp group. But yeah, I mean, if you just put animal decks in Google, you will get so many come up, and just notice which ones make you feel excited. And sometimes you can just get they don't feel excited because they're so beautiful. You just have like a magnetic feeling toward this is the deck. So yeah, notice how you're feeling. Okay.
Okay.
Probably that's everything for questions, unless we've got one more. You're so welcome, Sophia. Glad you had fun. I have so much fun with this with you guys. So your invitation is to do what we just did with the 3-card reading and practice it. And don't give yourself a hard time. If you don't have any time, don't worry. But if you can get that, I will put that little cheat sheet as a downloadable that in the replay email. So if you want to print it out, you can, or I'll also put it in the Telegram group. I don't know how easy it'll be to like expand it to be able to read it all, because there's quite a lot on there. But yeah, have it accessible and practice it when you can. And I'll see you next week. So it's basically, if anyone confused, we meet for 2 weeks and then we have a week off, and we meet for 2 weeks and we have a week off. So I'll see you next week. The next week after that will be a week off, and then I'll see you after that. Okie doke.
Sorry, Kia, for the Telegram group, I haven't joined it still yet, and I keep meaning to. Would you be able to just send the link through an email again?
Yes,
just so I can get onto it.
I'm sure that's always in the replay, but I'll make sure that it is. I'll double check. Okay, cool.
Okay, thanks.
All right, no problem. All right, I'll see you next week, guys. Well done. You're doing a great job, and I'll see you in the Telegram group. Till then, bye.
Thank you.